It's really heating up. I'm anxious to see what happens next in episode 8. It's a good show, good job from everyone. Stallone's doing a great job. So is Dominic now. And those two are going to start to butt heads, we see. There's going to be a war on two fronts. Can Stallone win? Can he beat the Irish and beat his fellow people back in New York? Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. All is great, very blessed on this end. And as always, we give God all the praise, honor, and glory for that. And hey, we're into a new year, 2023. Could you believe it, man? I'll tell you what, people, when you get older, those of you that are near my age, time really flies. When you're young, it's taken so long to get here, especially when you're in school, you want it to end. When you get older, that time flies. But I always say it's better than the alternative, time not flying, because if it's not flying, well, you're gone. So anyway, 2023, let's play. It's going to be a great year for everyone. With that, let's get in today. I'm going to talk about Tulsa King. Again, everybody's enjoying it, and so am I. I'm really into the series. I'll be honest with you. Stallone is doing a good job. Dominic Lombardozzi, my friend, we texted each other back and forth about the series. He's a good soldier. Because I invited him on, I said, come on, let's talk about it. You got any behind the scenes stuff? Paramount strictly refuses to allow that, and Dominic wouldn't violate that, and I wouldn't ask him to once I knew that. I know sometimes the studios get, a little touchy about that, but he did fill me in on just his feeling about the whole thing. He thinks he's doing a good job. He thinks the series, rather, is doing a good job, and I agree with him, it is. And he really starts to present himself now. It's exciting because he's a rough and tough guy. He's a great character in all of these mob movies and series that he's been in. He's really terrific, and I think he's really going to extend himself now. It's great. Anyway, just a couple of points. And again, I don't go over the whole thing. I want you to watch it. So for those of you that haven't watched it, I want to tell you everything that's going on, but I'm going to hit some highlights in episodes 6 and 7. Really starting to heat up now. Stallone, Dwight, he's going to have a lot of trouble. He's going to be fighting a battle on two fronts. The Irish people that are fighting for his turf, or I should say Dwight is fighting for their turf. They were there first out in Tulsa. And then you got his mob associates back in New York that are really on top of him because they think he's getting out of control. And remember, he killed Nico for violating his daughter. And by the way, you still can't get away with that. What Nico did was wrong. He would probably pay for it with his life. If Dwight had gone to the boss and said, this is what happened, it's confirmed, and they find out it is, Nico would have been killed anyway, most likely. But Dwight took it upon himself. You saw that scene in episode 5. Now, is he allowed to do that? No, you're not allowed to do that. The right way to do that was to go to the boss or the consigliere, the underboss, and say, this is what happened. And then, the boss would take care of it on that end. So, Stallone in real life could have been in trouble if he did something like that. But again, dramatic liberty, we're enjoying it, we're into it, it's good, it adds to the plot, it's great, right? So what's happening here, we're starting to see something between Pete and Chicky. Chicky is Dominic Lombardozzi. We're starting to see something there, some resentment. In episode 6, actually, Pete gets up and smacks Chicky in front of the other guys. Really smacks him. He says, if you were half the man that Dwight was, you wouldn't ask a question. What did Chicky ask? He said, we need to kill Dwight and his daughter, Tina. Well, that enraged Pete. Kill the daughter. What did she do? He gets up, he smacks Chicky in front of everybody. Now, Chicky didn't like that. Even though it's father and son, he's still a made guy. You don't do that. So that's unrealistic. That would have never really happened. And if it did, people would have been even upset with Pete for doing that. Because again, you don't raise your hands to another mob guy. Even if you're the boss, you just don't do it. Anyway, it happened here. So now there's some resentment. You can see it's starting to build a little bit. It gets even deeper. Because during that episode, Chicky's actually in church. We see him in church. And he's talking to a priest, and he's kind of confessing things to him. Not in the confessional box, but he's confessing things to him, that show that he does have resentment for his father, Pete. Why? He said, I didn't really want this life. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to be in the military, but my father made me do this, and he wasn't happy about it. So he's kind of confessing to the priest. So we see the resentment building, and that really heats up at some point in time, you know, in episode 7. I'll get to that. But what else is going on? Well, Tina, you can start to see she's softening a little bit. She's starting to soften to Dwight, to Stallone, because he's trying hard to patch up the relationship. You know, gone 25 years, estranged from his daughter and the whole family for 18 years. He wants to rebuild that. You know, every time I see that scene, people, it gets to me. His daughter happens to be called Tina, and my oldest daughter, Tina, with my first marriage, and, you know, again, trying to repair that relationship. She's a wonderful girl. I have a little granddaughter, Chloe, now with her. And it's hard when you're away for that long, and obviously with me too, you know. It's just tough every time I see it, but it's playing out well. It really is. Well, after Stallone kills Nico, Tina's a little concerned. Is anything going to happen to her? Now, look, in real life, there would never be any retaliation to the family. It just wouldn't happen. But in this episode, in one of the 2 episodes, her husband happens to get beat up. He gets mugged in an alley, he gets beat up. She calls Stallone, and Stallone calms her down, says, nah, don't worry about it. But he also says to her, why don't you come out to Tulsa for a while and stay out here with your family? Because in the back of his mind, he thinks something's going on there. He doesn't know. She doesn't really want to do that. Her husband's in the hospital. She talks to him about it. He doesn't want to do it. We find out that it really did come from Chicky. He's the one that either gave the beating or ordered the beating or whatever. So there's some retaliation starting there. We also see another thing happening, okay? The girlfriend of one of the Irish bikers is an informant. And she's informing to Stacy, the ATF agent. She's inside the bikers, you know, the Irish guy's gang, and she's an informant. Well, her husband or boyfriend gets killed. Why? His name was Pike. He comes to Mitch's bar, which is Dwight's territory now, and he was going to hold it up or ransack it or whatever. Stallone happens to be there with Mitch, and they kill him. We see he's dead. They also bury the body. Well, the girl finds out about it. She's very, very upset. She goes and tells Stacy. She's uncontrollable. Stacy is trying to calm her down, and she tells her, look, you got to go back inside just one more time, because the girl's saying, I can't do this anymore. I can't. She convinces her to go back one more time. Now, you know what? That was crazy. When somebody's so upset like that, you don't send them right back in, you know, back into the lion's den, because she can't even compose herself. Anyway, she goes into, I think his name is Waltrip, the boss's office, and she's looking through his computer for anything that might be incriminating, because that's what Stacy tells her. Get anything that might be incriminating, and then meet me the following morning in a restaurant. Well, while she's in there, of course, Waltrip, the boss, I think that's his name, comes in and sees her snooping through everything, right? Basically, you know, without getting into the reason, he kills her. He chokes her to death right there. Stacy, the next scene, is waiting for her to show up in the restaurant. They were supposed to meet, and she was supposed to deliver the incriminating information. Well, after a couple hours, she's not there. She calls the girl's phone. And who answers the phone? But the Waltrip guy. Now, that's crazy right there. Why would he answer the phone to an ATF agent or to anybody if he was the one that just killed her? Makes no sense. That was silly. But again, you know, dramatic liberty. I don't think anybody would be that dumb, but hey, he did it. And so Stacy now knows that she's dead. You know, another thing that happens is Goody, who is the consigliere, was sent out to Tulsa by Pete to see what was going on and kind of smooth things over with Stallone. So Goody's out there, and he notices Manny. And he says, what the heck is Manny doing out here? Because remember, Manny was with them. Armand, Manny, he was with them at one point in time. And Stallone tells him the truth. It was a coincidence. He just happens to be here. But Goody's son suspects something now. You know, what's going on here? Stallone gets very upset with Goody after he finds out that his son-in-law was beat up. And he goes at Goody and he says, you, blah, blah. He starts to yell at him, and Goody says, hold on, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about this. And he probably didn't. It sounds like, you know, the way the thing is moving, that he didn't know what was going on. Anyway, you know, again, it's really heating up. Stallone meets with the head of the bikers again and tells him straight out, you know, this land is your land, this land is my land. That's it. He quotes the song. They were supposed to smooth things over, but it didn't work. It gets even worse. So another good scene here is he goes to see Bodie, And Bodie reveals something to him because Stallone has an idea now to build a casino to start washing money. Wants to put a casino together. He's got this grand idea. So he tells Bodie about it. And Bodie's on his computer and reveals something to him that he's been stealing crypto somehow. This guy's a smart guy. He's been stealing crypto. And he shows Stallone and he says, "You're not the only criminal in Tulsa." You know, it's just a funny scene. Anyway, so a lot of things are starting heating up. It's getting very, very interesting. But here is what really kind of sets the stage for what's happening. Pete is in the bathtub, and Chicky, good son, is washing his hair for him. Because, you know, Pete's old and everything. But he got a good report from the doctor. Doctor says if you take care of yourself, you'll live another 15 years. So he had a good report, because remember, he was sick. But they happen to be talking. Remember, Chicky's pretty resentful. They're talking. Pete says something that upsets Chicky. He's kind of had it. Boom. He pushes Pete under the water, drowns him. Pete's dead. And then a scene that I really enjoy. Call him Dominic. Again, he's a friend. He's kind of playing with his hair, which we knew was a wig. At least I did. He didn't look right to me in a wig because Dominic is he's a fierce-looking guy. You know, he's got a clean-shaven head. He's a fierce-looking guy. He's a great character in all these mob movies. Does a great job. So anyhow, we see kind of a personality change in him. And then the next scene is all his guys are at the house. They're bringing Pete's body down the stairs. And following the body, or before the body, we see Chicky, Dominic, come down, clean-shaven, dressed in a suit, looking like I always saw Dominic in these movies, right? Tough, you know, foreboding character. And he comes down the stairs and he looks at Vincent Piazza, who hugs him, and he says, "Doctor said he could live another 15 years, but he had a heart attack," you know, that's what everybody believes. And Vincent Piazza says, "Is there anything I can do for you?" And Dominic looks at him and says, "Yeah, you can help me put this family back together." Is that something he would say after his father just had a heart attack? Very revealing to me. In other words, Dwight's in trouble. That's it. And then Goody, who's out there, I just love the scene because Dominic is becoming Dominic again. You know, it's cool. And then the last scene, in one of the last scenes, we see Goody telling Stallone that Pete was dead. And Stallone knows he's got a problem now. He realizes it. And Goody says, "You're going to be going to the funeral." And Stallone says, "I don't think so." Not a good idea for him, finally. And that's kind of how it ends. But it's really heating up. I'm anxious to see what happens next in episode 8. We've got to wait till Sunday. And again, they've renewed it for season 2, and they should. It's a good show. Good job from everyone. Stallone's doing a great job. So is Dominic now. And those two are going to start to butt heads, we see. There's going to be a war on 2 fronts. Can Stallone win? Can he beat the Irish and beat his fellow people back in New York? We'll have to wait and see. So that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't watched the series, watch it. Paramount Plus, go on it and get it. And that's it. So people, you know, I wish you all the best in 2023. And how do I always leave you? Same way. Be safe. Be healthy. God bless every one of you. I sincerely mean that. And yep, I'll see you next time. Take care.